So in this video, I'm just going to simply give you the pitch, just a straightforward pitch. I'm going to play both the customer and the canvasser, the door-to-door rep. So the customer and myself, I'm going to play. The goal of this video is just simply to give you kind of the rundown. If you're having a little bit of trouble delivering the pitch, this will be useful for you. Now, I will say too, it is very helpful to get in front of like a camera to kind of listen to yourself. If you can get in front of a camera or a mirror, then it will help you significantly. You know, part of this job, memorization, anybody can do. It might take some people longer than other people, but anybody can do memorization. One of the keys to success in this job is how you deliver the pitch. So no matter what you have memorized, you can memorize it and sound like a dope. You want to put personality in there. You want to put some just kind of umph in there, and just a little bit of yourself. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you the robotic pitch, and then I'm going to show you the pitch, and just how they sound different. And you decide for yourself what you like more. But I'll start with the robotic pitch. So let's pretend like I'm memorizing and I'm just reading it off the paper. Good afternoon. My name is Paul Duffy. I am with Renewal by Anderson Windows. We just did some work for your neighbor, Mr. Smith, at 123 Main Street. And it looks like you're going to be doing something with your windows soon. I may be able to help. How old are your windows? How many windows do you have that are 20 years old? Okay. How many windows do you have that are drafty? How many windows do you have that are hard to open and close? Okay. How many windows do you have that are not energy efficient? Well, you do know that you're going to have to do something with your windows soon. May I make a suggestion? We need to have our foreman come out to your home to make sure that we can do what needs to be done and find out what you want. If we can't be a service, so you see, it just sounds dry. It sounds terrible. Okay. Now, when listening to it given with personality, given with emotion, it sounds much better. Good afternoon. My name is Paul Duffy. I'm with Renewal by Anderson Windows. We just actually finished up a couple jobs in your neighborhood. Right here for Mr. Jones over on 123 Main Street and for Mrs. Smith on 124 Main Street. And it just looked like you're going to have to do something with your windows eventually, so I just wanted to have a conversation with you about it. Now, it looked like you had the original 20-year-old vinyl windows here. Is that about right? Okay, great. And Mr. Smith, I couldn't help but notice walking up that the sides of your windows weren't capped, and that you're experiencing some different issues with rotting in the windows. Now, about how long has that been happening here? So it's been going on for a couple of years. I've talked to a lot of customers, that we've had in the neighborhood, a lot of people that have replaced their windows in the neighborhood. Most of the people in the neighborhood have told me that they've had some issues locking the windows. I did see that on a couple windows right here. That being said, besides these two windows, how many more windows do you have that are having that issue? Okay, now I want to tell you, sir, it's the first thing I notice when I walk up. I have good intentions here. Not everybody that comes by will. So it is a safety concern. On top of that, it's an energy efficiency concern. Your windows, when they don't lock tight, they open up, and you have areas where draft can come in and out of your windows, causing your energy bills to obviously rise. Another significant issue there that I see with the windows is that it looks like the glass has been impacted down. Are you familiar with that issue? No, you're not? Okay, so what happens is the glass gets kind of pulled tight, and you start to see the rainbow effect that you can see in the windows here. Do you see how it's kind of like a funhouse mirror? Okay, and about how long have you been noticing that happening for? Wow, okay. Now that'll lead to a lot of different issues. I would imagine that you're either experiencing extreme drafts, or you have at least a little bit of hot and cold spots in your windows. What would you say is a bigger issue for you? Yeah, and Mr. Smith, a little bit of hot and cold spots, mixed with all the other problems that you have, are definitely going to be increasing your energy bills. The average energy bill in the neighborhood is about $250 a month. Where would you say you stand on that scale? About the same? Okay. Well, you do know that obviously you're going to have to do something with your windows in the next couple of years. May I just make a quick suggestion? Okay. We need to have a foreman come out to just make sure that we can even do what needs to be done here. Find out what you like. If we can't be a service to you, then of course we'll recommend someone who can. Now, assuming that we can, which I believe we can, be a service to you, then we'll show you the actual windows and we'll show you how they're installed. And then, of course, if you like what you see, we'll leave you with a free price quote for when you're ready. I'm sure that sounds helpful. Okay, great, because all we do when we come out is we go over your options, we answer your questions. The free price quote that we leave you with, sir, is good for 1 full year. How does that sound? Great. Now, Mr. Smith, to do that for you, we just need two things. First, we do need you to set aside 90 minutes whether we need it or not. Fair enough? Okay, great. And second, when we visit to discuss a project, of course, we need to meet with all of the owners of the property. Now, that could be you, a spouse, a family member, significant other, a partner. So who's that? Okay, and what's her name? All right, fantastic. Now I'm going to stop there just in the interest of not putting everything out there on these videos. I'm just going to stop there. Okay. Now I'll tell you, I'm trying to go quick in this thing. I don't want to have a 20-minute video here just pitching, but you can see the difference in just how you pitch. And it's what happens here is that you memorize the script, which you have to do, and you sound robotic, and then you start trying to force personality. And when you do that, it never ends well. You just sound like a robot that's trying too hard. Okay? So be yourself. Create the attitude and the aura that you already have. So when I'm at home speaking with my wife or when I'm hanging out with my kids, I'm going to have the same exact attitude, same exact kind of mentality that I have when I'm talking to the customer. And it leads for a difficult life sometimes, but it does help you with your job. It does help you do the work that you're doing. So it just hopefully that helped out a little bit. One thing that helps me out too, and I'm going to put this as script drills. In the interest of not making a million different videos, here's how you memorize a script. Okay. So there's something that we call stacking, right? And I actually learned this from a great guy. His name is Brian Smith. I know his name put out there, but awesome guy. And what you do, this is just a memorization tool, and it helps you not sound robotic at the same time. So you take the script, you have it in front of you. You start at part 1. Right? And if you've gone through a training class and you've gone through this, so you start with paragraph 1, introduction. All right. You can write it out once if you want, write it out a couple times if you want, just to kind of get it in your head. But understand that when you're tested on this stuff, it's not a written test; it's an out loud test. Okay, and the reason for that is obviously you're not writing it down for the customer at the door. That would take a long time. So that's why it's an oral test. So you write it down a time or two if you want, just to kind of get used to it, get the words on the paper. But after that, you want to be speaking it. So I read it in my head a couple times. Okay. And the reason why I'm doing that is just to kind of get the flow down. It's really difficult to just start reading it off the paper and actually dig it into your mind. You want the memorization part to be happening as you're reading it out loud off the paper. Okay? So if I read it in my head, then I get down the part where I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't really know how I'm saying this. I get that taken care of. After that's taken care of, that's when I can say it out loud and I'm actually learning it. I'm actually memorizing it. So I start off with just the introduction. I read it in my head a couple times, 3, 4 times. Okay, now I'm ready to go out loud. All right, now I might be with somebody. I might be in training class. I might be in front of a mirror. Front of a mirror is a great way to do it. Like I said, it's great to visualize yourself saying things. Okay, and it's great to record yourself too. You can listen back to it, guys. This is just about it. The best way to learn the script is by infusing it into your life. Your work in your life. I've always said this. You don't have to make work your life, but you have to make it part of your life. You got to fuse the two together. That's when you're most happy at work. I've gone through a lot of jobs. I've gone through a lot of things in my life. I've been in a lot of places that I liked, that I didn't like, and I can tell you that this is the best way to do it. Is you have to infuse those two things together. Be happy at work. Be happy at home. Take it together. Okay. So after I'm done reading it 3 or 4 times off the paper in my head, okay, then I start reading it out loud. Now the key here is go slow and read it word for word off the paper. Okay? So I'm going to do that right now. Good afternoon. My name is Paul Duffy. I'm with Renewal by Anderson Windows. We just did some work for Mr. Smith on 123 Main Street. And it looks like you're going to be doing something with your windows soon too. And I may be able to help. Okay, and then I start that over. Good afternoon. My name is Paul Duffy. I'm with Renewal by Anderson Windows. We just did some work for Mr. Smith on 123 Main Street, and it looks like you're going to be doing something with your windows soon too. I may be able to help. Okay, so I do that like 3 or 4 times. Right? Do it as much as you feel like you need, and then I test myself. If you're with somebody, then you give them the script and you have them test you. That's ideal. If not, then you record yourself. At the very least, you try to say it out loud without looking, but try to record yourself. Not looking at the script, and then you you evaluate how you did. And remember, you're trying to get this thing word for word. That's how it starts. Okay. Of course, I understand. People say it to me all the time. People with experience say it to me all the time. Well, why am I memorizing this word for word, this and that? Because if your other sales job, marketing job, whatever job did not have you memorize the script word for word, that's the reason why you're not working there anymore. If they were so good, you'd still be there. If you were so good at the job, then you'd probably still be there. So it's one of the other. Either the company sucks or you suck, and we're trying to make you good at the job. So just listen, pay attention. That should be a kind of a wake-up call to you. This is the right way to do things. I'm not the one who's saying that. The people that have taught me this, 127 years of experience, they are the ones saying this. And I'm just the vessel that's speaking for them. And so I'll tell you, yes, word for word. Okay, so you read it off the paper. Now you try to do it without looking. So you might make a couple mistakes. So I'm just going to do this, but I'm going to make a couple mistakes. So, good afternoon. My name is Paul Duffy. I'm with Renewal by Andersen Windows. We just did some work for a couple of your neighbors. So they have us come by to talk to some homeowners, and then you kind of fall off from there. Okay, so that wasn't even close. So then I look back down again. Okay, good afternoon. My name is Paul Duffy with Renewal by Andersen Windows. We just did some work for Mr. Smith on 123 Main Street. It looks like you're going to be doing something with your windows soon too. I may be able to help. Okay, and I do that 3 or 4 more times, and then I test myself again. And eventually, good afternoon. My name is Paul Duffy. I'm with Renewal by Andersen Windows. We just did some work for Mr. Smith at 123 Main Street, and so it looked like you're going to be doing something similar with your windows pretty soon. I may be able to help. Okay, so eventually you get it down, and now you're saying it out loud and so on and so forth. When you do that and you apply that to different parts, especially the more difficult parts, such as the value of the visit with the script, it helps you get things down a lot quicker. So just keep that in mind. It's a fantastic exercise for learning the script. Thank you.